Okay.
I don't understand. I hit record, so we're recording now.
Oh,
Hi,
yay.
technical difficulties. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us for a Meet the Artist. And tonight we are featuring Sandy LeFlore.
Woohoo! Ah, this should
So,
be interesting.
yeah, a little technical difficulties again tonight, but I want to thank everyone who's watching this on replay, and go ahead and ask your questions below because Sandy will answer them when she gets to reading them. So first off, Sandy, where are you from? Where are you located?
I live in Southern California in a city called Corona, no Del Mar. And it's about halfway between LA and San Diego, but inland a little bit. We call it the Inland Empire.
That was quick. Cool. So I assume California is like you're on lockdown or shelter in place or strongly suggested to stay home.
Yeah, but I'm a homebody anyway, so most of my outings were to the post office and grocery store, so that really hasn't changed. So I'm perfectly happy to be a hermit and sit and create or work on the computer.
So you're getting a lot done then.
Yes, I am. Amazingly a lot done.
So my second question of the night is, how old were you when you knew, when you started painting, when you knew you wanted to be an artist, or if they're two different questions?
Oh, okay. Well, I always wanted to be an artist. When I was in high school, I took art classes, basic lettering and design and art classes. And at that time, I wanted to be an illustrator for children's books. And then in my junior year, I met my future husband. And I decided it would probably be a good idea if I learned how to cook. So I changed over to home ec. And things happen. We get married, we have kids, and I still created, but in different ways. I sewed. I sewed. I made clothes for our children, much to their dismay sometimes. And those little matching outfits that moms always put their kids in. And so, it was always there in the background. And then once my kids were in school, I took my first tole painting class, and it just started from there. So, and I've been creating ever since.
Awesome. I'm gonna stop this. So it was high school?
Yeah, high school when it really solidified, yeah.
So then when you graduated high school, what then? What was your
Well,
artful journey?
when I graduated high school, I did what every girl child in my family did. I went to beauty college. You can't tell, but yeah. So all of the girls on my father's side of the family, for some reason, gravitated to beauty college. So I went to beauty college, and I worked as a hairdresser for a few years. And I don't know if anybody out there can remember, but there was a time when we went through a gas shortage and a meat shortage. That's when I was a hairdresser. So people weren't getting their hair done because they needed to buy meat and gas. And so I just did it on the side. I stopped working at a shop, and I just did hair on the side in my house. And then I got married and started having kids. And just the outlets were different, creating with my children and sewing clothes for them, and that kind of stuff. It was just always something. There was always something going on that I was creating, but it wasn't painting yet. So, but then I took my first tole painting class. I think it was in I want to say 85 or 86. and
Ah,
I was hooked. So
cool.
I
But
took,
you were being a hairdresser or beautician or
at that time, no, I was a stay-at-home mom.
oh, so how many children do you have?
I have 3 children. They're all grown and very old. They're all they're all married and have children of their own. So I have 5 grandkids.
Oh, you're a grandmother.
Yes, five grandkids, and that's it. That's all we're having. Not my choice, but yeah, I have my oldest daughter lives in Washington State with her husband, and they have 2 children. Uh, and then my son lives here near us, and they have 2 children. And then my youngest daughter lives in the Washington, D.C. area, and she has 1 child.
Wow,
So,
that's wonderful. So, do you find that your painting, kind of revolves around them as well? I mean, like they inspire you to do whimsical things or certain designs or
and no, I not really. No, I just that's how I think. Um, I envision painting beautiful roses and everything, but that's not what comes out of the end of my brush. So I think, I don't know if people know this or not, but I have a weird sense of humor, and it tends to escape through my art. So that's where it all,
escapes through your art?
yes, it escapes. It comes out the end of my brush sometimes. Sometimes, not very often.
That's awesome. I never heard that phrase before. So that's where you okay, well, there you have it, everyone. That is just
It's like an
amazing.
insane asylum up here.
Because you know how a lot of times often people will ask what um how do you get your inspiration or how do you create? Where does that come from? So you must get that question a lot too.
Uh-huh. And a lot of times it might be a truck drives by and the name of the company will inspire something, or somebody says something on TV and it inspires something. Um, it could be just about anything, and my brain takes it and twists it and warps it completely out of context, and something different comes out. But yeah.
That's cool. I mean, I kind of wish my brain worked like that.
Oh, you don't get a lot of sleep with that kind of a brain.
um, so the next question I have is, where are you teaching now?
Actually, this year I pulled back on my teaching schedule, some because I was traveling so much. And to be honest, my husband would look at my calendar and he would go, "Oh, you're teaching on this Saturday, so we can go camping that whole week and come back on Friday." And I would go, okay. So I pulled back on my travel teaching, and I'm only teaching a few places. I taught recently at the Vegas convention, and I have a seminar scheduled in Santa Barbara in June. And then I teach again in October at uh, the Oklahoma City show, Painting Palooza. And also submitting, haven't heard back yet, but probably at a weekend retreat that's put on by one of our local chapters here in San Diego. So they usually pick something of mine. So I think it's safe to say I'll be teaching there in September.
That's awesome. Because I mean, a lot of people I understand look forward to your classes, and yeah, so
Some
you
of them, I mean, they take a class and they keep coming back. I can't help it if, you know, they want to continue in that abuse, but oh well.
there you go, right?
Right. Yeah. You sign up, you ask for it.
Well, we have thank you to everyone. If you want to take a peek, see at the monitor here, we have all these people in the house that want to hear all about your artful journey, and would, if any of you have any questions, please let me know. You can either type them in the chat, or you can unmute yourselves and ask them so that I don't have to ask all the questions. I'm more than happy to share the spotlight with any of you. So the last question I have for you, Sandy, is what are you doing? Let's see. Well, two questions. So you are also an Artful Webinar artist, and you will be teaching this coming May. So we actually have your first class sold out, and the second class is starting to take registrations. So I didn't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about that and show everybody what you're going to be teaching.
Well, golly gee, twist my arm, you know. Sure, this is the project that I'm going to be teaching, and like I said earlier, I love to paint beautiful roses, but that's not what comes out of the end of my brush. It's usually cute and whimsical, and I love to paint Halloween, not scary Halloween, but I just love the bright colors of Halloween. So this is the project that I'm going to be teaching. Obviously, it's called Broom Hair Don't Care. And some people say she kind of looks like me, but I don't see it. Anyway, yeah, it's going to be a great class. You're going to learn a couple of things. We're going to use some drywall tape for some texture back here, and I'll show you how to use your filbert rake brush to do this broom here, and it's just going to be a great time. We're going to have fun. I always try to make my classes fun. I usually tell people I'm old and I've lost my filter, so you never know what's going to come out of this mouth. So I hope you sign up for the second class despite that warning.
It's almost like I'm afraid to ask you any more questions.
No, I don't think it's ever anything bad.
Well, you know, I'm just getting to know you now. So we have many more people that are wanting to join us. So thank you all for coming tonight. And sorry for the technical difficulty between being on Facebook Live, which I tried to do, and unfortunately it wasn't working out again, because I think a lot of people are on Facebook Live right now, or on Zoom right now, because they're all visiting with their loved ones, which is what, you know, we want everyone to be able to do that. So I am recording this, and I will place this up on the Creative Innovations in Painting Facebook group, so the people who missed it can watch it. Is there any questions from anyone else? Please have some questions so that we don't make this a short interview for Sandy dear.
Oh, it'd be fine with
You
me.
can unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand and I'll unmute you if I can see you. No questions. Come on, Brenda.
Okay.
Oh, Lana's got a question.
I came in late, so I'm not really sure what all you asked her, but how long have you been painting, Sandy?
I took my first tole painting class, I think it was 85 or 86. So yeah, but I was always creating, and I majored in art in high school until I met my husband.
Wow.
And then I thought it would probably be a good idea if I learned how to cook. So I changed to home economics.
How is the cooking going for you?
Oh, it's not too bad. I'm glad I learned, since we're all stuck inside. So.
And when you started doing art, did you like immediately, I mean, have you always liked Halloween? Has Halloween always been your favorite holiday, or is that something that came?
No, I think it I kind of grew to love it just because of the colors. I'm drawn to the bright colors. So I guess, and Halloween fits that best, you know, so.
Okay. So anyone else have any questions? I was going to say, Brenda Stewart is in the house. Brenda, you must have a question.
I'm thinking. I joined late too, so I don't know what I missed.
That's
You
okay.
also paint a lot of Santas, don't you, Sandy?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
I
I used to focus on Thanksgiving because it seems to be the forgotten holiday, but I need to do that again. So, but yeah.
Thank
that's
you,
what
Brenda.
And you're also, where did you say you live, Sandy?
I live in Southern California, about halfway between LA and San Diego, but inland in a town called Corona. It used to be a small town. It's getting really large now.
Opposite coast from me.
Yeah.
We cover the country. That's our goal, is to spread across the country. Anyone else have any questions? Yes, hold on, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Sandy. How long have you been designing and making?
Let's see, probably since about 1990, I think. I actually had my first packet of design here before, and I moved it. So I think probably in the 90s is when I started designing. The class that I took, the shop that I took classes at, I finally graduated to be a teacher. And when I started teaching, then I started designing, and they started carrying my packets. And then I actually was shopping at another tole painting store that's about 25 miles away, called the Painting Goose in Temecula. It's no longer there, sadly. And they offered to take my designs to the national convention. And so then I really got a bump and started designing more. So I eventually ended up working at the Painting Goose, managing the store. And it gave me an opportunity to meet a lot of other big brushes, even though I hate being called that, but big brushes who would come in and do seminars so I could pick their brains and get to know them and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of a really neat time for me to experience that. But yeah, it's been nonstop for a long time.
When did you start going to conventions?
I actually started going very soon after I started working at the Painting Goose, because I would go along with them because they would have booths at conventions because they sold paint racks. The paint racks that are behind me, they sold those, and they sold rotating paint racks for a long time, and they would go and sell those. And so I would go and work for them at convention. And then they decided to, the couple that owned the Painting Goose and the paint rack business, decided to get out of the business. And so I kind of slid into their booth spots at conventions. So, and started exhibiting under my name, Just Fine Designs. So I did a lot of exhibiting, but I kind of backed that down too, because I'm old and it's hard to carry all that stuff.
It is. So have you always just done packets, pattern packets, or have you actually have done books? Obviously you must have been in magazines.
Yeah, I actually have 7 books. The first 2 were published by a company that's no longer in business, Blue Ridge Publications. My first book, actually, it was called Just Snow You Know, which is kind of weird because I live in Southern California and I never get snow. I have to drive to snow. But it was a book full of snowmen, and it was my first book, and it actually made the cover of Artist Club catalog. And it was like amazing. And so that's kind of hard to follow up. I never did that again. But the last 5 books were self-published. And my good friend, who's no longer with us, Sandy Strecker, was my mentor and taught me so much about publishing my own book and doing photo shoots and all that stuff. And I owe a lot of my success to her.
Oh, wonderful. How sweet. That's a beautiful memory of Sandy. Yeah. Okay. Brenda, you have a question?
Yeah, pretend I'm a student who knows nothing about your techniques, and I don't. What would you say? What would you say your major techniques involved, like, side loading, dry brushing, etc.?
Oh, dry brushing. And I have a whole video on that, Brenda. You can go to my website, www.justfinedesigns.com, and there's a whole video on dry brushing. But I learned dry brushing from Ronnie Bringle. And so I demonstrate this on almost every class that I teach, but I like to use a Langnickel Royal Sable short round. And here you're going to get the thing that they always start out with this nice point, and when they get to be like this is when they're wonderful dry brushes. And I like to load paint in the brush, wipe it out on my paper towel, and then I go to my hand. And trust me, I've gone to the government website for non-toxic, and it's not going to kill you. It's not going to give you COVID or anything like that. And I kind of test it on my hand, and you can tell when you've taken out enough paint because of the coolness of the touch to your hand. And when it's not cool anymore, you can go to your piece and you can dry brush. And that's the technique I've used since my days at the Painted Goose. And it's just how I do it. It's how I'm comfortable doing it. And I always encourage people to try. I used to make all my classes show me their hand and if there was paint on it, but then they got smart and just kind of scrubbed it on there. But I don't do that anymore. I've gotten more lax in my old age. But yeah, that's how I like to dry brush. But any techniques like that, I try to do a little video on. So
Thanks.
You're welcome.
That's great. I see Sandy a lot of times with the paint on her hand.
Oh,
Oh, she's got it again.
There's still little specks there now. Yeah.
Cool. Anyone else? Yes, Linda.
Will you review that technique in the class with us as well?
I sure will.
Okay.
Cool.
Got it. I even have a palette camera so I can show you how I load the brush.
Fantastic. Anyone else have any questions for Sandy? And anyone?
Nobody wants to know about
You're
me.
more than welcome to ask. Yes, Lana.
Okay, so dry brushing is your favorite technique that you like to use. Do you have a favorite brush that you like to do the dry brushing with?
Yes, it's the Langnickel Royal Sable short round.
Is it a soft or a more stiff brush?
It's a softer brush.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you use it dry?
Yes. Hence the name dry brush. Yeah.
Wow. That's what I call dry rubbing. Dry brush. Some people get their brush damp to dry brush.
Right. Yeah. And I do point that out. Now, don't put any water in this. So. But I like these brushes because if you only have a couple of them, you'll be okay because you can wash them out and scrub them on your towel and dry them and use them again for the next color.
Can I see what it looks like?
Sure. So it's this is it. It's red handled. They just changed the number not too long ago. It's a 95005 from Royal and Langnickel.
So it's like a dome brush, kind of domed around?
It's a short round sable brush. So it could, yeah, a dome brush. I think I have one of those. For really tight spaces, I might go and use that. It starts out nice like this, and it starts getting kind of raggedy. And let's see, this is a different brand they gave me to try. And when it gets down like this, that's an excellent way to put your cheeks on and dry brush in your hat stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know.
So how do you clean your dry brushes in between like colors or?
Well, in between colors, if you look at my brushes now, you know I don't clean them enough. But I just wash it out in my water basin, and then I can go to my towel I have underneath my project and just scrub it, and it dries it. You could also use waterless hand sanitizer, but who wants to use that for their brushes right now when you need it for your hands?
Well, there you go. You need that. So, okay. Anyone else have any questions that they would like Sandy to answer?
I'll answer just about anything.
Some of them don't have pictures, but if you don't, you can always unmute yourself, I believe, and ask the question. And we have about 21 or 20 people in the room, so thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Lisa has a question.
I thought I was on the whole time. I'm new at this Zoom.
That's okay. You're doing good.
Lisa.
My question is that I've noticed that all of your pieces have some cute little saying that goes along with that. And I always like that about them. And I'm just wondering where you get all those great ideas.
Gosh, this brain, I don't know. Sometimes it's just somebody says something and it just kind of sticks in my head and I kind of churn on it for a while, mainly at night when I'm trying to go to sleep. One of them, or a couple of them actually, have come from a billboard that I saw and I just kind of twisted it up. And a truck drove by once and I got one. I mean, you know, it was an ice truck or something, and I went, oh, I could do something with that, you know. So and then sometimes it's just something that pops into my head and I get an idea. I want to paint this object, but I need a saying to go with it, you know, because I don't know. I think I've come to rely on the humor to make my stuff kind of come alive more.
I think it's really neat because it's special to you.
Right. Yeah. Like this one, the Broom Hair Don't Care, obviously came from experience.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yes, Linda.
Andy, who makes all your stencils?
I cut most of them. I have a silhouette cameo, which just recently had to buy a new one, so I had to learn it again because it's a little different. But yeah, I do most of them. If it's a big stencil, then I will have palette and sawdust cut them for me.
Oh, cool.
Wood company.
So have you
Obviously.
have you always had this awesome personality? The jokes you make us laugh every time.
Well, yeah, I'm married into a family that you have to have a sense of humor. My husband had 7 brothers and 6 sisters.
Ooh.
And so you had to fend for yourself. So I learned quickly that humor and sarcasm was a good defense. So yeah, and like I said earlier, I'm old and the filter is kind of gone.
You have a very nice filter. Anyone else have any more questions? If you do, and I can see you, you can raise your hand or you can unmute yourself and just ask. And she won't bite, she promises. She told me she
promises, not I promises. Yeah, and my English is real good too.
Sandy, coming up with your webinar coming on and you've been advertising it, I want to know, do you plan on pursuing acting?
Oh gosh, no.
Because some of them are really good.
Right. The last one I put up today, I have to brag. The Edna is my best good friend who just moved to Arizona. So big hole in my heart because she doesn't live here anymore. But I called her up yesterday and I said, can you dress up like one of your characters and do a one-sided phone call? And she said, oh, I don't know. She's afraid of doing videos. And she's a Christian women's speaker. And she loves to talk live, but she, for some reason, like most of us, we freeze up in front of a camera. And so she said she'd try, and she sent me that this morning, and it was perfect. I didn't have to edit anything, and it was wonderful. And I just have to say thanks, Dory. So
Yeah,
I
she
was
is
wondering
wonderful.
who did that.
What was that?
I said I was wondering who that was.
right, yeah, it's my best good friend. I gave her credit at the end of the video.
Oh,
So yeah, she that's her main character, Edna Meter. She talks about beauty. So you might want to be careful. If you become too good a friend with me, I might hit you up to do a video for me.
Oh,
mine are pretty bad, but
we think yours was great. We loved, was it Ivy Payton?
yeah.
We loved Ivy Payton. Hi, so anyone else have any questions?
to comment that I'm looking forward to painting with you.
Oh, yay. Thank you. Me too, Linda. I mailed your stuff out.
Okay. Do you do conventions anymore?
I do. I teach at Vegas, and I still do an exhibit booth at the Oklahoma show, which doesn't make sense because Vegas is only 3 hours away and Oklahoma is like 19. But we are, if you've taken a class from me, you know this. We're big college football fans, and we love the Oklahoma Sooners. And the painting show in Oklahoma is during football season. So I have even gotten permission from the convention to pack up my booth early so I could go to a game on Saturday. So they know how much I love the Sooners. We also had a granddaughter there who just finished her graduate degree at OU. So yeah, I exhibited that one.
Okay.
Hi, so okay. Anyone else with any questions? Do you want to show us one more time what you're going to be doing? I know you also have a watch party next Thursday on creative innovations in painting. Do you
Yes, I
have
do.
that piece in front of you as well?
I have it behind me. If let me put it on this one
Okay.
so you don't see what I'm wearing. I only dress the top, just like every newscaster in the U.S., right? So I'll go grab the other one. And
So this one is Broom Hair Don't Care. And
yes. So this is what we're going to be painting in the webinars. And we're going to have a great time. And
you talked about the kit.
oh, I haven't. No.
Oh.
If you do sign up for the webinar, of course, you're going to get your prep sheet that has colored pictures. And it also has a link to an unlisted YouTube video that will tell you exactly what I'm talking about so that your piece can look like this before you get to class. So I explain the paints, I explain the brushes, and I actually point out this is that little triangle under her chin, so you don't have any questions about what it is I'm talking about. And if you do, you can email me. And you'll get your full packet, which has lots of colored pictures again and all the directions you need. And then on my website, if you go to the website and on the homepage, click the Shop Now button, which is on the top left. Yes. The very first thing that is listed is Artful Webinars, and you'll click on that and you can see that you can buy a surface and supply kit, which will have the surface and it will have a vellum tracing, and you'll get some drywall tape, which is what we use on the bottom border. You'll also get a star stencil, and you'll get the handy dandy lettering stencil, because I know we all hate to do lettering at the end of our projects.
That's nice.
So, and that's $13 plus shipping, and it goes out priority mail, so you get it right away. because I figure most people are like me. When you buy it, you want it now. So, but if you already have a surface you want to put yours on, you also have the option of buying just the supply kit, and you'll get everything but the surface. And please, you're more than welcome to use a surface from your stash. You're more than welcome to enlarge and reduce the design to fit your surface, so you're not pigeonholed to having to get it from me. And there's also an option if you want to paint more than one, you can buy additional surfaces there. So yeah, that's good. That's what it is. Oh, you want to see the
Yeah,
watch
you're going to
party.
be doing on Creative Innovations
This
on
is-
next Thursday.
Yeah, once again, Halloween. And this is my Forever 31 witch. She never ages past 31. And it's a step-by-step video, start to finish. I'll show you how to do the background technique. I use stencils and stamps and rubbing alcohol. And again, you'll use the filbert rake, and we'll do a lot of dry brushing. So yeah, and I'll give you a little teaser about that video. When I was recording it, about halfway through, for some reason, my microphone wasn't on. So the whole last half of the video, I did a voiceover, and that was fun. Yeah. So we'll get that entertainment too.
Technical, I mean, it's like this electronic stuff can be our friend, but can be our enemies as well, right?
Right. I was not going to paint another one. I already have two. So,
Oh, you have two. But that one's got a lot of technique in there.
yes, I enjoy, people will hear me say this, and I put it in my packets too. I love to add interest to backgrounds, because if sometimes you'll paint something and it will look okay, and it'll look good, and you could be happy with it. But if you just add just a little bit of interest to the background, not enough to take away from the main design, but just enough to add some interest to the background, it makes such a big difference in the finished piece.
Cool. Anyone else have any questions? Any of the new coming people? Yes, Lisa, go ahead.
Where do we get the pattern for the Thursday night class on your website also? Do you have it as a pattern or?
Yeah, you can get it as a traditional pattern, or you can get it as an e-packet.
Okay.
And that'll be on the Halloween packet page.
So what we'll do is we'll put the website address in the comments when this gets posted on Creative Innovations.
And that surface is just an 8x8 square frame. So you could do it on just about anything.
Cool.
Will you put the link to the Artful Webinars in there too?
Yes, we will.
Do we have to sign up for Thursday's class or just show up?
It's in Creative Innovations in Painting, so you can go there and to the Events tab, click on the Events tab and click on the event itself and hit going. And supposedly Facebook will notify you when we go live, but I wouldn't trust it. So mark your calendars for not this Thursday, but the following Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is 4 p.m. Pacific. So there's 7, 6, 5, 4 across the country, just in case you're in one of the other time zones. And we will start it as close to 7 as possible. And it's a video, but Sandy will be there to answer your questions as we watch her video together.
Already signed up and I didn't even know it.
There you go. Isn't that great? Okay. So is there any other questions for Sandy? Nope. Okay. Well, thank you all for being here, for coming tonight. And for those of you who asked questions, oops, hold on. for those of you who asked questions. And thank you so much, Sandy, for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
And sorry for all these technical difficulties, everyone. And Sandy will be having, don't forget, a week from Thursday at 7 p.m. on Creative Innovations in Painting. Watch her Forever 31.
This
Wouldn't
is
we all like
the,
to be that beautiful forever?
oh yeah. This is the 16th,
It's
So cute.
16th, right?
4. I don't have a calendar in front of me. I'm sorry. But yes, Linda says yes. Linda says
Okay.
yes, it is the 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then we also will hopefully see you in her repeat class on May 17th. Broom, hair, don't care. And stay tuned for more of her commercials yet to.
I don't know. I think that was.
Anyway, so thank you all for coming. Thank you for your patience
Thank you
with
so
the
much.
technical difficulties.
Great. Thanks. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You are
Thank you.
welcome anytime.